Hello everyone, it's me Max23 and welcome back to the Final Fantasy VI Tea Edition. In this episode, the party shows off what knowledge and spoils they got from a lengthy training session and tinkering around with their Esper Ragnarok. Beyond that, the party also spent a great amount of time in the Coliseum and begins to break down all of its intricacies. So sit back and enjoy. I am back, guys, and boy, do we have to talk about a lot of stuff. I did some things off screen. Let us take a look at the in-game timer right now. I think I left you last episode at around about 50 hours. And yeah, you can see I spent 16 hours doing some stuff here. I basically dissected the entire game. I did already tell you that I wanted to do some stuff, but I literally did dissect the entire game. There was so much stuff I wanted to know about. I did try a lot of stuff and did some back and forth and some here and there, and oh god, I need to explain all of that to you. Because there's a lot of stuff that I know now, and I want to present you because I think that's very important information also to understand better what I did, what I didn't do, and why I did all of that. And so yeah, let me show you what I did off screen step by step. Okay, so the first thing I did was I did go to the Veld. And I did go to the Veld because of course you have all enemies there. And what I wanted to do with all those enemies from all over the game, I wanted to try out and see what can I steal from them, what do they drop, and also what can I morph them into with Ragnarok. The steal and drop department wasn't spectacular at all, but the morph department. The morph department is very, very interesting in this hack. I think also in the base game, but this hack makes it much more interesting, I would say, from what I've figured so far. So yeah, morph. Morph is a thing that you can only do with Ragnarok. Ragnarok does not damage enemies or does cast positive statuses on your party or anything as an Esper, but instead Ragnarok makes an attempt to move an enemy. And the way this works is, basically enemies have two things assigned to them. The first thing is a morph set and the other thing is a morph chance. And let us talk about the morph set first. So, when it comes to morphing, there are multiple sets of items that you can morph an enemy into. For example, from what I've discovered, there is a set that contains the items Antidote, Eye Drop, Gold Needle, and Maiden's Kiss. One set always contains 4 items, in this case Antidote, Eye Drop, Gold Needle, Maiden's Kiss. And all of those items all have a 25% chance to, for an enemy to be morphed into. Okay, so far so good. And there are multiple of those sets. Each set contains different items. For example, there's also a set with Phoenix Down, Holy Water, and Tent, and the 4th item I couldn't figure out. And also some stuff that gives you mithril equipment, gold equipment as well, diamond equipment too. And then stuff becomes more interesting because you also get enemies that can be morphed into certain other types of weapons. For example, there is I just call it the dagger set, which does have Assassin's Dagger, Dancing Dagger, and Cleaver, and those items are actually kind of interesting. And there are other ones of those too. There's a set for katanas, a set for claws, a set for brushes, and there are also sets for elemental equipment, which are also very interesting. For example, one set that contains of Thunderblade, Thunder Rod, Thunder Whip, and Thunder Shield. So those items are also very interesting. I hadn't actually that much success with morphing because there's also this other component that I mentioned, the morph chance, and yeah, basically every enemy has one of those sets assigned to them. So for example, the Antares enemies, or Mega Armor, or Sahagin Sheath, those enemies all have the let's just call it status curing set with the antidote, eye drop, gold needle, and main skis. Those enemies can only be transformed, morphed into those 4 items. Each item, once again, has the same chance to like appear when you morph the enemy, but the chance that morph even works is different between enemies too. So it's not just a simple fact of you use Ragnarok of an enemy, that enemy gets instantly morphed into one of the 4 items with like 25% chance each. It's more like you have to hit like the morph chance first, and then you need to hit the, let's just say, 25% chance of the item you want to get. So stuff is not as simple as it sounds. And yeah, those can vary widely. I couldn't figure those out because those percentages are of course much more hidden. I would need to like encounter the same enemy multiple times and like make some statistics. How many times did I have to cast it? How many times did it work and stuff to figure out the percentages. But the thing is, every enemy does have a specific chance to be morphed into. That's also very interesting because enemies that you are not supposed to morph also have sets assigned to them. For example, bosses. Bosses also have sets of items that they can be morphed into. But the thing is, you cannot morph them because they have a 0% chance to be morphed into an item. So that effectively renders them immune to morph. And of course it makes sense, you're not supposed to defeat the bosses that way. That would be a little bit cheap, I would say. It would be funny though, but that's something you cannot do, so yeah. I hope that makes it a little bit clearer how morph works. So each enemy has a set with 4 items and a specific chance that it can even be morphed, and yeah, you need to work with that, and hopefully you are lucky enough to get the items you want to get. Okay, yeah, like I said, I didn't have much success with morphing. I did get a couple of items. I think the most important items that I did get from it were 1 elixir from a Sand Ray or a Land Ray, one of those two. 1 elixir. I also got a rainbow brush from an enemy. That's a piece of equipment I didn't have before. Rainbow brush isn't too exciting, but it is new, so yeah, rainbow brush. And I also got 2 cleavers. Cleavers are very interesting. Those are weapons, those are daggers specifically for Locke. Only Locke can equip them. And the cleaver is actually the chef's knife. So it's basically the Tombury dagger knife, if you so want. It has like a description of, like, this is the grudging weapon of the Tombury, be careful, it is cursed and stuff. But I couldn't really see like any negative effects or so. It does provide some nice stat boosts, but I'm not sure whether or not it is just a strong weapon or has something else going on. That's something I couldn't discover. And maybe it also like casts all grudge or so with a specific percentage, like the Flame Tongue does cast fire or so, or other weapons cast other spells. But yeah, I didn't do much testing. I did get 2 of them though, 2 cleavers, which is very interesting. And yeah, probably the most interesting thing I did discover, there is 1 set of items, let's just call it MP healing item set, the MP healing item set. And like enemies that have this set are Vampirus from Daryl's Tomb, Saint Elmo from Abbot Rock, Onibi from the South Figaro Cave. Like those enemies can all be transformed into Ether, High Ether, X Ether. Oh, that already sounds interesting. But the most interesting item here, the 4th item, is a Soma Drop. And if you recall what a Soma Drop does, a Soma Drop does increase 1 party member's MP permanently by 10. So if I'm able to get a lot of Soma Drops via Morph from Ragnarok on those enemies, then I might be able to raise my party's MP, which is particularly interesting, of course, for characters that don't have that much MP. Gao in particular is, of course, a very interesting target. I keep mentioning that, but he really benefits from having high MP values. So yeah, that is something I might do in the future. I might want to hunt down some of those Soma Drops. The thing is, I think none of those enemies I just mentioned that have this set I was able to morph, so it could very well be that their chance to be morphed are astronomically low, or they cannot even be morphed at all. That is something I couldn't really confirm. It should also be mentioned, one thing that is very strange about those enemies, or very particular about those enemies, is that all of those enemies, Vampirus, Saint Elmo, and Onibi, those are all enemies the T edition specifically adds. So maybe there's something with the new monsters that the T edition adds that they cannot be morphed or so. But that's something I need to try more, and I need to run more experiments with that. But those are my discoveries so far on the Veld with steals, drops, and morphs. A lot of interesting stuff, nothing like too major. I also did see one more enemy where I could steal ethers from, but yeah, otherwise not much stuff I did get from it right now. A lot of stuff I want to try, and I think going forward I also want to equip Ragnarok more often and try it on other enemies, because maybe that way I can discover like new enemies that either have like better chances to be morphed, or enemies that have other interesting items that they can be morphed into. It is very interesting, and so far I can already tell that the T edition does make some changes to the normal morphs the base game has. And that's something that is very important. Getting Ragnarok in this T edition was also kind of hard, so I do imagine that Ragnarok does have some interesting applications here, and so far I think that's the truth. Okay, moving on then. The next thing I did, and that was on my agenda, was to learn some magic for my characters. There are also a lot of characters that I didn't like bring all that often that are lacking behind with learning magic. So that's something I wanted to do, and in order to do so, we did already discover the magic AP farming spot during our big World of Ruin expedition, I think I called it. But yeah, during that, I did discover that on the Triangle Island we have the Skull Eaters. And the Skull Eaters do give a lot of magic AP, 15 to be precise, which is quite a lot. It is enough to like learn every spell, not every spell, but learn one spell with like at max 4 encounters or so, which is very, very fast and exactly what I want. So yeah, I did set out and did try to farm some of those Skull Eaters for magic AP. And yeah, the way I did it, I basically just had to equip one character with the Atma weapon and other powerful gear. I also made sure to give that character Hermes boots and other equipment that boosts that character's stats. The other 3 characters that you bring actually do not matter, but yeah, that one character with Atma weapon also needs Atma weapon because the Skull Eaters have very high defense, and yeah, you need something that basically pierces their defense, and Atma weapon actually does so. So Atma weapon is the weapon of choice here. I also made sure to equip Hermes boots and a sniper eye, because Hermes boots of course make matters faster, and the sniper eye guarantees that I hit those Skull Eaters, which is often not guaranteed. Okay, before I also go into the battles, before I went into the battles, I also made sure that every party member had Vanish on them, because with the Vanish, you are practically invincible against those guys. They cannot hit you with any attack they have. With one exception, if you don't kill them, you do not manage to kill them with one hit of the Atma weapon, they will use Toad on you, which is very annoying, but you can easily avoid that. They only have like roughly 800 HP from what I've seen, so normally one hit of the Atma weapon should be enough at full HP to take care of them. And just make sure, if you cannot hit that value of 800, make sure to give the Atma weapon to your highest HP character, and that character should theoretically take care of those Skull Eaters without much trouble. Of course, occasionally between Skull Eaters you will also encounter a lot of Nut Eaters or Nutkins, whatever you prefer. Those guys are also not dangerous at all. They can also not hit you with a Vanish, and even in general they should not pose much of a threat. My strategy was to just defeat them with physical attacks. Even if your characters do not have weapons equipped, you should still be able to take care of them. They are just that weak. They do give some extra gil and some, like maybe some extra items from time to time. A lot of potions, but yeah, that's not really worth it. They don't even award magic AP, which is pretty sad, but I think it's better than teleporting, because I'm pretty certain when I did try teleport with Vanish on my characters, it did dispel Vanish, so you are better off defeating those guys with physical attacks instead. Another thing to consider here is that you should stay in the forest, because if you go outside the forest, the Void Eater can appear, and yeah, that's of course a hindrance if you want to farm for Skull Eaters. That's just one more enemy you don't want to see. And if you stay in the forest, you will never encounter the Void Eater, just Nutkins or Skull Eaters. And yeah, what I did here, I did spend a lot of time here because I did actually farm enough that all of my characters, all of the characters that I have from Zetsa to Terra over to Realm and so on and so forth, like every character does have all the spells we can learn from Espers right now. And that is not the same as like all spells we can currently learn. There are some characters that are missing Reflect while others have it. But that's stuff that is on equipment, that's things that I can, I think, learn from Lunar Curtains or so. But I didn't really bother to learn like those specific spells here and there, because that is on equipment, because I thought that would be like too much work right now. And getting all of those spells from those Espers is enough. The other spells are actually rather niche, so I didn't bother to teach those spells as well to all of my characters. And it did already take enough time anyway, so I wanted to get it over with, and yeah, nice that all characters have all spells now. And I think going forward that is gonna be very important. Okay, after I was finished teaching all of my characters necessary spells and stuff, I did do the next thing on my list, and that thing was farming gil. I wanted to get a lot of gil because I wanted to buy stuff. I wanted to fill out the gaps of items that we do not have but can be bought, so I needed a lot of gil. And I think in total I did farm like 600,000 gil in total, which of course seems like a lot, but there's actually an easy trick to that, and that is once again something I already partially discovered like in an earlier episode. Because what I did to earn gil was I did do the Night Patrol pub quest in Narshe. You know, the one side quest there with all the tomberies. And I did already figure out how to take care of them rather quickly with Gao's Cockatrice Rage and his Petrifying Beak attack. And so what I did bring Gao and Go-Go. Gao can use the Rage naturally, and Go can mimic the Rage or either use it himself if he wants to. And with 2 Cockatrice Rages, the odds are pretty high that I just get 2 Petrify Beaks and can take off the Tonberries ASAP. And the good thing is, once you defeat one of those Tonberry like groups, they do award you with 11,800 gil, which is quite a lot. Of course, that requires you to also have a character that can equip the Cat Hood, so make sure to either bring Terra, Realm, or Celis along. One of those 3 will do. And the last spot should be a character that you may want to train or is either immune against instant death, because those Tomberries use All Grudge, and we did already see those Tomberries can kill you instantly with All Grudge if you are unlucky. So either bring a character you want to train or bring a character like Realm or Shadow that can equip the Memento Ring and yeah, avoid instant death with this. Yeah, that's basically the strategy I used for getting gil. It is very important that you only need to kill 4 specific group of Tomberries here. Once you defeat those 4 groups, you can actually return to the first soldier that you talked to in the mission, and you can forfeit the entire mission. You can say, I have enough, I want to go sleep now. And then you can forfeit the mission and just try it again and rinse and repeat. It also has the nice side effect that you get a heal in between each time you do the mission, because you sleep in between missions, which is very nice automatically. So that makes sure that you stay topped off and stuff. One thing I should also mention, one item that is particularly interesting once again because of preventing of instant death, is the Soul of the Dead we obtained from Hedon. And that item is very interesting. it is very important that you do not equip it to Go or Go-Go, because one thing I did not know about, but one thing that happens, the thing is, if you have Soul of the Dead equipped, it basically turns one character undead. And what that means is they are not zombified, but they are actually undead, like undead enemies. You can still control them, and they have all the undead properties still. Like, they do take damage from being healed. They do get a full heal when you cast Death on them. You can also heal them, by the way, with the Heal Rod. The Heal Rod also still works with Soul of the Dead characters. That's something you can do. But one thing to consider, one thing that is like specific to Go and Go-Go, if you use a rage with one of those two, it will actually override the undead status of the Soul of the Dead. So basically all of the properties, also the elemental properties that the Soul of the Dead gives you, will be overridden by the rage actually. That's something I noticed, because I noticed, why does Go-Go not get damaged by healing spells? Why does he suddenly take damage? What is going on here? And yeah, basically what it does is, if you use a rage while Go or Go-Go have the Soul of the Dead equipped, they will like ignore the Soul of the Death and of the Dead and will get their rage's properties instead. A very interesting piece of interaction. That also means you are better off to equip it to one of the other two characters you bring along. And yeah, that's how you should do it. Just use Petrifying Beak, Rage with Cockatrice, Rage with Go and Go-Go, and you should easily take care of those Tomberies. Of course, like I said, if you want to train, that's also a good opportunity. I did gain some levels here. I think the characters that got the most levels here obviously are, of course, Go and Go-Go, because I wanted to bring them by standard, and the other characters that also did gain some levels here are Realm and Terra. I think I also brought a Shadow with me, so those characters now have a higher level than they had before. Also, I noticed what made this part of interesting too. I noticed that characters, once you recruit them, do actually not continue to gain levels. I think that might actually only be a thing in Final Fantasy VII or so, where characters also gain levels even though they are not part in the current team. But this, at least the SEC, doesn't seem to do this, so there might actually be a point later on where I might need to do some dedicated leveling. But leveling in general is something I didn't do right about now, because I thought try to use your other options first, and then if all else fails, you can go over and start to get grind for some levels. But yeah, levels were not the priority so far. But anyways, that is how I mainly got a Gil. It might also be a good advice now to leave the Night Patrol quest for the time being, just so that I can still accept it and slay some Tomberies and get some easy money. Because we had this before where I wanted to repeat a pub mission, but I couldn't because I already did beat it. So I might be holding off with completing that side quest until a later date, because I still want to farm some money maybe. But yeah, that's how you get money. Nice and easy actually, shouldn't be too hard. And yeah, that leads me to actually the last thing on the list, which is also arguably the biggest thing here. So yeah. And with that, we arrive back at the present time. You could see that I did a lot of stuff, but arguably the biggest thing of them all was this. Welcome to the Dragon's Neck Coliseum. Okay, guys. The Dragon's Neck Coliseum. I did already partially explain how this works. So, what you do here. You do basically trade items here. I think that's the easiest way to explain stuff here. You basically trade items. You can, like, trade a potion for different items, or, like, any item you set here. And of course, the catch is, in order for that trade to be successful, you need to defeat an enemy in between. If you do not defeat that enemy, you lose the item, and if you win, you trade the item. So you do not keep both items in either case. You will either lose it or you will exchange it for a different item. And yeah, what I did is I did go through all of the items here that we have. That's also one of the reasons why I did farm Gil, because I wanted to make sure that I had every item in the game so far that I could get my hands on. And I did try to I basically did try the and see what you can trade here for each single item. Also, by the way, by getting Gil, I also did buy 99 of most basic consumables here. But yeah, that's what I did, and I did discover a lot of stuff here, of course, because if you wager every item, you discover a lot of stuff. The Coliseum seems also to be changed a lot, because what happens in the base game? In the base game, a lot of the items you can wager here. A lot of the items, for example, basic consumables like potion, antidote, eye drops, if you wager stuff like that, some very low level stuff that no one cares about actually, if you wager that, you almost every time do get an encounter against Typhoon. And if you get an encounter against Typhoon, that's basically your sign that you should not trade that item, because that simply doesn't work. Typhoon will always use Snort as his first move, and that automatically ends the fight, which means that you instantly lose and lose your item. So with those items in the base game, you cannot do much. This hack, however, does change things substantially. And basically every item we have here can be traded into a different item. Like basically every item we have here. And the only exceptions here are items that are special. For example, what we have here is the Royal Crown. If we wager a Royal Crown, that makes you immune against zombie, what? If you have a Royal Crown, if you wager this, you also will get an encounter against Typhoon, and the item that you would get if you theoretically would be able to beat Typhoon, because that's also certainly possible with certain setups, you just get another Royal Crown anyways. So you basically trade a Royal Crown against a Royal Crown, which doesn't make sense at all, so that's basically your indicator that this item should not be traded. And another thing I noticed, not sure if that's also part of the base game or if that's exclusive to the hack, if you have one of those traits, I call them now, if you have one of those Typhoon traits, if he snorts you and you get ejected from the battle, you actually do not use the item you did wager. So that's actually pretty nice of the game. You do lose items, however, still if you lose against normal enemies. But if you have Typhoon, you never lose items, apparently. There are also some exceptions to those Typhoon traits, which don't really matter right now, because, like I said, I need specific setups for this. But there are also some other interesting things here. And basically, what you can dissect the Coliseum traits into, let's just call it 3 separate sections. The first section are chains. Chains mean traits that lead you, for example, potion leads to high potion leads to something else, and then so on and so forth. So a chain is item A to item B to item C to item D, and so on and so forth, until you eventually reach one of the other 2 groups of traits, and those groups are either endpoints. Endpoints is something like the Royal Crown I mentioned. If you wager the Royal Crown, like I said, you just get another Royal Crown, so you basically cannot continue to trade. You are just stuck with the Royal Crown now. So chains, eventually some of them lead to some of those endpoints where you cannot trade anymore. There are also other chains that end in a different kind of trade scenario, and those scenarios are loops. For example, here, that's a good example. I don't have one of those. What do we here? Where do we have it? Here, white rope and black rope. White and black here. White rope and black rope. Those 2 actually do build a loop. If you wager a white rope, you have a battle where you can win a black rope. And if you wager a black rope, you have a battle where you can win a white rope. So they basically loop back to each other. You have item A leads to item B, again leads to item A. And there are also some more complicated loops, of course. For example, A, B, C, A, or even more items in between. But those are basically the states where those chains can end in. You end up in an endpoint, or you do end up in a loop. And that will eventually happen at some point. So those are the things that are happening here. The loops and chains actually do make a lot of sense. The chains especially because, for example, one line of, like, one chain here is what I call the dagger chain from what I've discovered. And what that means is the dagger leads to the mithril knife, mithril leads to main gauge leads to needle, needle leads to assassin, that one leads to air lancet. So basically you get the lowest item does transform into the next highest tier of item in that chain. And there are like chains basically for all of the like pieces of equipment here. You have a sword chain, you have a magic sword, actually magic swords are loops. You have a katana chain, you have a ninja sword chain as lances, you have the axes here and claws and everything here. And yeah, that's basically what is new to this Coliseum here, because in the base game you don't have this. If you wager a dagger, you don't get anything. But here you can actually transform like low level items into high tier items eventually, which is very interesting. From those chains. Those chains are actually not really something I am after. I'm more after like scenarios that lead to endpoints, because the endpoint items are the items that are particularly interesting. And of course that means I need to fight a lot of strong enemies, and that's basically what I want to do now. I want to try and obtain some of those very good items that I figured out, and like execute some of those like traits that I think are very interesting. Okay, yeah, with that being said, let me quickly see what we are doing here. Okay, I also always noted which enemy I have to fight for each trait here, and so that I can make better preparations. And the first item I want to try now, and I want to wager here, is the high potion. Because with the high potion, we can get high ethers, and that's of course very interesting because high potions you can buy from every shop in the world basically for 500 gil. The preferred shop of course being the airship, because that is just next door. And yeah, with 500 gil you can basically get high ethers, and high ethers I think are still good. High ethers should be, yeah, still be very good. I think high ethers might even partially outclass X ethers, because they will still fill you enough that like X ethers are redundant in comparison. But yeah, in order to do so, we need to defeat 2 enemies. Like it goes high potion to ether to high ether. That's the chain we want to go to, and the result we want to get. But yeah, if I wager high potion, I need to fight a Lunatis, and I need to make preparations for this. That's also the reason why I brought those 4 here. I think those 4 are the most capable characters now that can win the 101 scenarios here in the Coliseum. I also prepared a reset button this time around, because if I lose an item, I of course want to reset the game, lest I do lose some very important items here. Because that can happen if you wager like one item that does not like lead to, like that is not one of those endpoints with Typhoon, you actually do lose that item. But yeah, I think I want to take Umaru here. Umaru in general could be the best character here. I give him the Atma weapon. Of course, here I just give him the best stuff I have, obviously, for this, because he's also the only guy who is part of all of this. Of course, you're also not doing a bad job if you equip a ribbon here. Ribbon might be very important. And I think I also want to give him Reflect. I think, actually Soul of the Dead is also interesting. Transform into zombie. That of course depends whether or not I need to fight enemies that have stuff like instant kill moves or so. So I give Umaru Atma weapon, good equipment, and all of this. Does he need? He cannot cast magic. That is his only downside. Phantom, nah. Poo-poo, maybe something. Ashura could be interesting, but he cannot even cast that. Of course, Golem is interesting, but he also cannot cast that. Let's just use Poo-poo, why not? Yeah, okay. Anything else I want to equip here? He is standing in the front row, that's important. I should quickly heal him. He's not fully healed. And of course, that's important if I have the Atma weapon equipped. So yeah, I think we can try it like this. Is there? No, I think I forget something, but actually not. I think. So yeah, let's try this. Let's see how this goes. We do wager a high potion, and as you can see, we get an ether. Our enemy is the Lunatis, This guy is nasty because he uses strong magical attacks and he can also freeze you, which is very dangerous in a 1-on-1, so let's just see how this goes. Of course, a lot of this is figuring out how to defeat those enemies. Okay, freezing dust immediately is pretty bad. I think the ribbon will also not prevent this. No, be frozen. Okay, I think at this stage we can only watch. Maybe it will kill itself. Maybe that's the strategy here. No, actually Galaxy, that's bad. But still 0 damage and a toss. That's important, okay. Okay, he tackles. That should be good. Yeah, okay. Okay, Galaxy apparently seems to be a fire elemental move because it did Tommy, and there we go. And that's the Lunatis. And we do obtain an Ether. Nice. Good. Okay, that was the first step in the chain. What we want to do now, we want to save. We want to save, and we want to go for the next item in the line. It is always important that you save in between battles because you never know when something is going wrong. Once again, of course, having like an ether here, that's not the most expensive item in the world, but when stuff becomes more expensive, you do want to do that. Okay, we do wager an ether now. Ether leads to high ether, and that battle should actually be kind of easy. But we do want a different character for this. That character does not have to be very special here. Where did I get? Oh yeah, I also did buy a Durandal also. Yeah, I guess she can get this. Yeah, sure. Aegis is fine. You get the Fiend Hood. Reflect is fine. Relics, you do get definitely a ribbon, and you also get the Soul of the Undead. Or Dead, Soul of the Dead. And because we are about to fight a spirit, and spirit can easily be killed with one race. You could also throw a Phoenix down, of course, but let's just do it with like normal battle skills here. Also, a very nice thing here is that the character that has the Soul of the Dead equipped actually transforms into a ghost, like back on the Phantom Train, which is pretty funny. Okay, spirit should die in one hit here. Easy, okay, and that's how you get high ethers. Easy. Of course, I would need to do this a couple of times more, because one high ether is not the world here. But if you keep repeating high ether, ether, and high ether, you can farm high ethers this way. It's just 2 simple battles, actually, and for 500 gil, that's actually kind of nice. Okay, of course I will not just sit here now and continue to farm high ethers. That's something, once again, I can do off screen. But I want to execute the next chain. And the next chain is also very interesting. And that next chain also has a lot of powerful encounters. So the question also is, can I even do this? 500 ripoff. 400 ripoff. But that next chain is a way to farm elixirs, mega elixirs, or reincarnations. And those are all powerful consumables, of course, so that's something I definitely want to get my hands on. Yeah, basically the intent right now is to show you how you can get some of the powerful items from the Coliseum and like how you do this and what you should equip for those battles and stuff. Okay, let me quickly check here. We have the, okay, yeah, okay. We want to start with the, I quickly need to see where I did note this. Okay, we do start in the VIP chain. Not chain VIP, VIP chain. We start in the VIP chain because we want to wager a fire VIP. We want to wager a fire VIP here. And if we... What is missing here? Oh, is the Durandal I equipped. Never mind. Okay, Fire Whip. And there we go, Fire Whip. Okay, you can buy Fire Whips from Tamasa at the weapon store in Tamasa for 100... Not 100, 10k... 10,500 gil. You can buy one in Tamasa for 10,500 gil. Which is which is actually a good deal for getting elixirs, mega elixirs, or reincarnations. And we want to wager this. And this will, first of all, lead us to the Ornament Bell, and from there on we continue. We need to fight a Perusa. That guy should also be easy enough. Let's see. If I really wanted to make sure to win this, I should also have equipped. Never mind, he's just wanted. Okay, that's simple enough. So yeah, that leads to the ornamental bell. Okay. And the ornamental bell we also want to wager now. Because if we do that, that will give us a heal rod, and the heal rod is the key to obtain elixirs and other stuff. Let me quickly check this. Once again, I need to always scroll through my list here. Okay, elixir chain, heal rod. You can also get heal rods instantly by. You can also buy ornament bells, but you could see the Perusa is simply not to defeat, and the ornament bell costs twice as much with 21,000 gil than the fire whip. So it's more cost efficient to get the fire whip instead. But yeah, if we wager the ornament bell now, if we do that, we can get a heal rod. Here we go. I already got 2 of those. That's nice. And we need to fight Saint Elmo. Once again, Terra is the perfect character for this, because she can revive. Phantom Fire is something we should ignore, because we have the ribbon. Yeah, we also have immunity against fire. Perfect. Race will take care of Saint Elmo. Of course, we do get the counter here, that's Spirit, but that should even heal us, right? Yeah, nice. Because we are undead, reverses the absorption effects, and we obtain a healer rod. Nice. Like I said, healer rod is the key to powerful items, powerful consumables. You might even have some spare healer rods you can instantly wager here if you wanted to. I think you also don't have to heal in between battles, because you instantly get healed each time you start a new battle here in the Coliseum. Okay. But yeah, healer rod we can wager for an elixir, and this fight is probably the first fight now that is more interesting, because we need to fight a Daedalus now, and I'm not sure if I can revive the Daedalus simply with Race again, like I did with the Saint Elmo. It's this guy here. He looks like what was he called? Dullahan back in Daryl's tomb. I wonder if I can revive him. I could try it with Terra. I guess we just do this. Let's try the easiest solution first. Okay, we get question mark reflect. That's something we can learn, right? I think that might actually be something Stargo can learn. That's important. Okay, I think that's actually a weird spell, because that's a spell that works exclusively on characters that have reflect, I think. Okay, let's see if it works. If it works, that would be pretty nice. Nice, okay, perfect. Okay, you can also revive this guy. You can see he has a stronger physical attack here, but nothing you can't handle. Okay, so getting the elixir is easy enough. So with that, we can practically farm elixirs now. Very good and very important. Also, I think I should probably make a separate save here. Let's do it like this, yeah, in case I lose something here that is of importance or so. But yeah, with the elixir we can continue now. The elixir already is pretty good, so that might also already be worth it. But we can continue even more. And we can wager the elixir now. And that will lead us to Mega Elixir. And we need to fight this strange enemy, the Cum. I might say this guy also looks undead. I think this guy is also particularly strong. We could try it with Umaru first, let's see if that works. Because I'm not sure if I can revive him, I could just use a Phoenix Down, for example. Okay, he starts casting Death, that's a good sign, because I have Reflect, okay. And also misses, so that might be a sign that he's not undead, otherwise he might have been healed by that. Okay, Blizzaga is also something we ignore anyways. Even if it does hit, we have the Hero Shield. Oh nice, he takes big damage from his own magic. Okay, Breaker should also be ignored, okay. Also misses, interestingly. Okay, Craig is dangerous, but also ignored by the Hero Shield. Okay, it also misses him, he is flying. Okay, Tackle is not the good move. Breaker, once again, does not care, yeah. A Break normally also shouldn't work here, yeah, also gets reflected. Also deals... Okay, Reflect is definitely the key to this fight. Okay, was also easy enough, and voila, we got a Mega Elixir. This is the point where you could theoretically stop now, because Mega Elixir already is also, of course, great. But you can already see that like getting elixirs and mega elixirs are kind of an easy task. You just need enough skill to buy enough fire whips. But like that's something I should definitely remember here. Will probably also be very important later on if we fight strong enemies and stuff. But yeah, in case you don't want a mega elixir, there still might be a merit to do this, Shane, because if we continue now and also wager the mega elixir, we do get the chance to win one of those very nice reincarnations. I made the mistake now that I did not apply. I'm not sure if you can actually take Vanish with you in the Coliseum. If not, then it might be a good idea to equip one character with... what is it called? With a Phantom, because then you can, of course, apply... yeah, Vanish even if you have Reflect on you. Let's try Terra. I think Terra might have the best chances here. He also uses All Grudge, I think, so... Let's try if we can... Let's try Flood. It's also a move we haven't seen so far. The Dumberry is a very strong enemy. I'm not sure if I can defeat this guy, but the Reincarnation, if you find out a strategy to defeat him easily, that might very well be worth it. All Grudge, that should heal us now, because it should always trigger the instant death effect. Yep, okay, so something that prevents instant kill is very important here. So far he is very passive. Let's see if that stays this way or not. Force Field. Force Field, interesting move, isn't that? That's the move. Now immune to fire, okay. That's actually the move from a demon later on. It's also a move that a Strago can learn, interesting. Let's try Flood again. That might also be a good opportunity to learn what Donberry is capable of. I still need to defeat one of those for the Night Patrol side quest. He once again uses Force Field. He probably makes himself immune against all statuses, right? Or elements, I should rather say. So you might be better off with something that is a neutral element. Meteor, for example. Let's try Meteor. She should have learned that from the Hero Shield, actually. Yeah, oh yeah, that's it. Let's go. Okay, double hit. I think that can hit randomly 2 or 4 times. 2, 3, or 4 times. Immune to water, but we have Meteor. That shouldn't really be the issue here. I'm kind of confused that the Dumberry doesn't do much here right now. Of course, I could also morph, but oh, that's pretty costly. Immune against water, right? Let's try Poison. Maybe no, he's immune against darkness. Maybe Tornado works. If Tornado works, that would be pretty good, because then I can instantly bring him down to critical health. But it seems to work. Never mind, miss. I'm not sure if it is safe to physically attack him. But I might actually just try it, let's see. Nice critical, okay. Yeah, he's surprisingly passive. I'm afraid that he will pull some nasty stuff now. Of course, it is very obvious if you farm consumables here, you don't want to like spend items here, because that would like kind of like make the entire point of farming items redundant. I think that's also the reason why I do not go for like an ether right now. And the guy is pretty easy so far, so I wonder why he's not doing something. That is kind of strange, but I take it. But yeah, anyways, this is the way how you get Mega Elixirs and Reincarnations, 2 very powerful items you definitely want to have. Especially going forward, I think those items will be important. But it is very nice to know that you can get them easily. Or at least kind of easily. This is taking some while here because Stormberry is actually kind of tough. Let me actually check what he has going on here. Okay, Donberry, 111, what? Okay, oh, he has a lot of HP. Weak against poison, huh? But he doesn't like that. Should we just try poison? Let's see if poison works. But I think he did already say that he's immune against darkness, and poison does count as darkness damage here. But who knows, maybe the poison itself does still work. It's super interesting. As you can see, I am kind of immune against everything here. That is good to know. That is very good to know, actually. No, he still takes 0 damage. Okay, that's nasty, of course. I should put Terra in the front row. So, of course, the tip here would be, do equip... No, she's... Oh, no, she's now staying in the back row. Okay, so if you want to fight the Dunbury, make sure that you have Umaru here with the Atma weapon to deal maximum damage. Since otherwise this will take some while here. I will do this now, but like for future runs I do know what I need to keep attention. Where I need to keep attention to, what I need to keep attention to. And like I said, I don't want to consume items right now because I think that's like kind of not the point right now. Especially if I just want to showcase what you can do here. And then again, I could also just farm high ethos, what I just showed you. But yeah, it is very good to know that I, at this stage, do not have to worry about, like, restorative items. We can just get that stuff if we want to. It will take some time, but, like, getting some should be easy enough. How much HP did he have? Oh, come on, I think that will take, like, 30 attacks or so. But hey, I guess we have the time. Once again, you did see what I did off screen. You did see all of that. I once again need to say that the like big world of rune exploration that I did, which was also like 3 hours or so, it was very much worth it. I think it was very worth it to do that, because I really think that I did gain a lot of valuable knowledge from that I could also apply now. So yeah, that was very good. And like also this like second tour that I did off screen now was also very enlightening. So yeah, very good that I did this, and I think also going forward we should pretty much be prepared for the challenges that lie ahead. But of course I still want to show you what you can do in the Coliseum here. Yeah, and I think we also need to continue next episode with more Coliseum items. Yeah, I just want to slay the Tomberry now. And the Dunberry, sorry. Because this is, of course, taking some while here. I could also just kill myself with the Phoenix Stone or so, but I think that's also besides the point. If I have the chance to get a reincarnation, I also want to get it. By the way, you can also, of course, wager the reincarnation. But that is actually a loop. It will just loop you back to the Mega Elixir again. So you either have you can actually trade between Mega Elixir and Reincarnation now. Another thing that I should probably also mention with the Coliseum here, a lot of the trades you can do here, basically all of the trades have like a specific enemy also associated with them, so there are not many doubles here, and there are not like many enemies that appear multiple times. That of course is also interesting. If I want to like find a specific enemy, I can just wager the respective item here and do fight that enemy without having to search it all around the world. That is also very nice of the game. That's like another layer to the Coliseum here that is very interesting. For example, if I want to learn a specific blue magic with Strago, or if I want to like learn a specific rage with Gao, considering that you can even learn stuff here in the Coliseum, but I think it should still be possible. I think that's something that should be possible. But yeah, that's something we can also do. While we also added, there's another way to obtain elixirs other than using healing rods with like other trading before. You can also use magicite shards to get elixirs, but then you would have to fight an Iron Giant, and I have the impression that Iron Giants are particularly strong. So yeah, do not do that. I also have no clue where you can get magicite shards, so at the moment that's like a finite number of trades you can do there. While the Fire Whip is indefinitely, because you can always get new money and stuff. Would also be nice if you could get money here in the Coliseum, but that's not happening. I think those two chains are probably the most crucial and interesting chains so far. The other chains that I will show you in the next episode then, those lead to more specific items I want to get. Normally some pieces of equipment, there are also some like other kind of items there, but it mostly leads to pieces of equipment that I want to get. Or at least want to try to get, of course. There might still be some enemies here that prove too much for me. But yeah, now I talked all this time, and yeah, he's still fighting. Still alive and kicking, I see. Maybe it would have been a nice idea to just throw the high ether and get over it with it. But hey, then technically you would also trade a high ether for an like Mega Elixir or so. Reincarnation, actually. But yeah, it would be nice if this guy could find it. There we go, thank you. I called it. Nice, we obtained reincarnation. Good, and that's how you get reincarnations. As I said, if you reach the reincarnation now, you just end up back to the Mega Elixir. So yeah, decide, do you want to get Mega Elixir reincarnations or do you want to get both? And yeah, make sure to farm enough money beforehand and get enough fire whips. It's still pretty costly with 10.5k, but it's very much worth it, I would say. And you could see the battles in general were also not the toughest one. It was all pretty manageable. Just the Dombery was a little bit tedious, but hey, we got a reincarnation on. That's actually pretty nice. Cool, so I guess we see next episode what else we can get in the Coliseum here. I hope you're looking forward to it. Alright guys, thank you all for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next episode of the Final Fantasy VI T Edition. Until then, take care and goodbye.